Hello fellow gamers and welcome back to a new review. With almost all manufacturers increasing their display resolutions to QHD or even 4K these days, MSI is still like, hell no. Full HD is still the way to go and we dial it up to 11. The display in this one is not refreshing at a measly 165Hz or even 240Hz, but at a whopping 360 refreshes per second. If the i7-12700H and the RTX 3070 Ti in this thing are able to actually drive this display, or if it is all just a grand marketing move, well, we will find out in our review. The 17-inch gaming notebook comes with 16GB of RAM and a 1TB NVMe SSD. Since the combination of Intel's 12th Gen i7 and Nvidia's latest Ampere refresh is quite common in upper mid-range gaming notebooks, we have a lot of laptops with similar hardware in our database. Competitors for your hard-earned cash alongside the MSI would be the Aorus 17 and Lenovo Legion 5 Pro with the same CPU and GPU combo, or something like the Zephyrus M16 from Asus. The Vector is definitely a gaming laptop when it comes to its chassis design. You get a lot of sharp angles and the base of the display with its large cooling vents gives you proper sports car vibes. The overall build quality is excellent, and despite it being a big 17-inch laptop, it feels solid with no flexing or creaking noises. For the hardware and the form factor, size and weight are alright, and MSI uses a mix of plastic for the rear and bottom and smooth metal for the display lid and the central part of the chassis. The Vector uses its size to its advantage by including a very useful amount of ports. Conveniently located in the back, you can find a mini display port, an HDMI 2.1 port, great for using this thing as a gaming console for your TV, a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, and of course the power connector. You can find two USB-A 5 gigabits per second ports on the right, and on the left another USB-A, an audio combo jack, and a USB-C port. While this one supports a DisplayPort signal, it is not Thunderbolt 4 nor does it support power delivery, so you have to make sure to have the chunky power supply with you at all times. For quick and reliable game downloads, the GP76 uses Intel's latest AX211 Wi-Fi module and gives us excellent results in our Wi-Fi test. It is on par with similarly equipped laptops, but easily beats the ROG M16 with its MediaTek card. If you want to upgrade or repair the MSI in the future, you got quite a bit of options once the plastic base is removed. You have access to 2 RAM slots, those are still DDR4, so you don't get the latest standard, but since the difference in games or applications is still very negligible, it shouldn't make too much of a difference. And considering that a 32GB DDR4 RAM kit costs about half as much as a DDR5 kit, it definitely is less of a problem. In addition to the RAM, you have access to a pair of M.2 slots that are both PCIe Gen 4 and of course the Wi-Fi card. By the way, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upgrade guide for laptops. MSI is once again taking advantage of the bigger chassis to give the keyboard adequate travel. While the keys themselves are on the smaller side, it is definitely a very usable keyboard both for everyday use and gaming. I personally prefer a more pronounced pressure point and a firmer stroke, but that is of course up to personal preference. In typical gaming laptop fashion, the trackpad is on the smaller side. Navigation works as it should, but the clicks are a little mushy. But given that most users will have a mouse connected to this anyway, it is not the end of the world. Alright folks, let's talk display. While its brightness and contrast are nothing to write home about. In fact, most competing laptops easily outshine the Vector, pun intended. You buy this thing for its 360Hz refresh rate and insane response times. 4 milliseconds for gray to gray and 8 milliseconds for black to white is almost unmatched in our database. While these numbers are very abstract, it is incredible how direct everything you do in games feels on this display. Every mouse movement is instantaneously translated in-game, making this thing the perfect choice for high-end, on-the-go gaming. Color gamuts are still quite good, even though coverage is more in line with the competition this time. You can easily tweak the Vector using MSI's center application when it comes to performance. You have access to basic hardware monitoring, 4 performance presets and a mux switch. This year, the i7-12700H seems to become the de facto standard for high-end gaming and productivity laptops. It is a great performer, but MSI kept the power limit to 70 watts at max in extreme performance mode and 45 watts in auto mode. It is still delivering excellent results, especially compared to last year's chip. But laptops like the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro with uncapped power limits offer a lot more CPU horsepower. By the way, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our review on that one coming really soon. Thanks to its overall very fast components, the Vector offers very speedy system performance. Everything from navigating the desktop to several browser tabs or opening games and applications feels extremely responsive. While the SSD offers great read and write speeds, it is not quite up to PCIe Gen 4 standard. While it is a Gen 4 drive, it is more in line with older Gen 3 drives in its performance. The competition offers much faster drives, but if that is noticeable in everyday use, well, you have to decide for yourself. MSI is also not fooling around in the GPU department and equips the GP76 with an absolute monster of an RTX 3070 Ti. With a 150 watts power budget, this GPU is almost as fast as some mobile 3080s and is therefore a great fit for the super fast display. Gaming is definitely a ton of fun on the Vector, and you can enjoy all games in high and ultra settings in the native 1080p resolution and at very high frame rates. Please make sure to head over to our written review to see a bunch of games we tested at different setting levels to get a detailed idea about how the Vector will perform in your favorite games. If you need more resolution, you can easily drive even 4K displays with the GP76. I like to use a laptop with my TV to enjoy some controller games after work hours. If you own a suitable TV, you can even take advantage of HDMI 2.1 for improved input lag, 4K at 120Hz and even G-Sync on some displays. I tried Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Elden Ring on my LG OLED and got about 50 FPS on average for both games. Keep in mind that was at the highest possible settings. You can easily get a solid 60 FPS 4K gaming experience with some tweaking. In such a use case scenario, or when not every single frame counts, we would recommend running the laptop in silent mode. While there's almost no penalty in CPU performance, the TGP of the GPU is dropped to a still very high 125 watts, and the performance loss is easily compensated by the severe reduction in fan noise. In idle scenarios, the MSI is also very well behaved. Only in extreme performance mode it can get super loud, so make sure you got your headphones at hand. Temperatures are handled quite well, so the loud fans are actually doing something when they're working. In our The Witcher 3 stress test, the CPU stays at a very respectable 82 degrees, while the GPU is at a very decent 78 degrees despite pulling more than 140 watts. Battery life is quite standard in the gaming laptop field and on par with its competitors. We got about 5 hours in our Wi-Fi web surfing test. Considering the 17-inch laptop isn't quite portable to begin with, this is still a somewhat okay result. Head over to our website to easily compare the Vector to other gaming laptops with similar hardware. Alright guys, let's wrap things up. If you are in the market for a high-end 1080p gaming experience, the Vector GP76 is tough to beat. If you are into high-speed shooters, even at a competitive level, this is for sure the right laptop for you. The speedy display is backed up by a well-performing i7 and an almost uncapped 3070 Ti. There are a few different configurations out in the wild, some with an i9 and different RAM and storage options, that start at around $2,500 or €2,500 respectively. As always, if you want to get into more details about everything I just talked about, head over to our written review, and for everything else please consider subscribing and help us out by liking the video. Thanks a ton for watching. I'm Alex and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.